Hi, and welcome to the Bouncing Back Podcast, Professionals Thriving with Chronic Illness. I'm Melissa McCurley, your host, and someone navigating life and business with the challenges of autoimmune disease. This podcast is about resilience, inspiration, and actionable strategies to help you thrive, no matter where you are in your health journey. In each episode, we'll share stories and insights from professionals who've bounced back stronger. Let's redefine what it means to live and thrive with chronic illness. Now, let's dive in. Hello, my name is Melissa McCurley, and I'm your host for today's podcast. For over 20 years, I've been a professional TV and film actor, as well as a real estate investor and realtor. In 2020, I experienced a major life reset from autoimmune disease that forced me to step away from everything in my life. 2024 was my first year back full-time in real estate, and now I'm passionate about sharing stories and strategies for creating success while living with a chronic illness, because it is possible. And I'm so excited to share with you our guest today, Minnie St. She is an entrepreneur, advocate, and resilience coach dedicated to helping others with chronic illness build financial independence through online businesses. She has over 22 years of experience in online modeling, affiliate marketing, direct sales, and coaching. She shares practical strategies for individuals looking to create flexible income streams while working within the limitations of their health conditions. Minnie, welcome to the show.
Hey.
So can you tell us a little bit about your personal journey? I always love to start there. What did your chronic illness look like? When did it show up for you?
So going backwards, it's sleep apnea. I'm waiting on my ADHD diagnosis. Multiple sclerosis was diagnosed in 2013, August. Then before that, it was bipolar disorder, depression, PTSD. That was diagnosed in 2004. I'm gonna say officially because when I was going through depression symptoms as a tween, the in between of 13 and beyond, my family doctor told my mom I was depressed, and then I saw the child psychologist, but it never continued for treatment. And it didn't continue for treatment until I moved out at 18 years old, where I called my dad and asked him, hey, does your insurance have psychotherapists? He said yes. I asked for the phone number. And I hate that I had to leave my family home to get treatment to take care of myself. I'm mostly over it. I'm 40 now, but it still rubs me the wrong way in a little bit because I still talk to my family as much as you can for being, adult in your 40s. But every time I live with my disability or go through treatment, or if I go back to therapy again and they ask about my history, I reprocess it all over again. So that's pretty much how to sum up the mental health side. And then while I moved out at 18, I got into the webcam modeling industry, where there's an ad in the paper for a studio. They offered me to live there and work as a webcam model. I took it, and I'm glad I did, because 22 years later, I'm still making money in that industry.
Wow, that's amazing. And then the multiple sclerosis, can you educate us as to, my understanding is that has a pretty big impact in day-to-day life activities. What does that look like for you? What was it at your worst? And then where are you with it today?
So multiple sclerosis didn't show up like, I don't know, like my symptoms were I couldn't move my left arm. Like I was gaining weight from gaining weight from the bipolar medication, and I wanted to lose weight. So I started exercising, and then I couldn't move my left arm. So I thought I pinched a nerve from exercising. And then the pinched nerve attack in my left arm kept happening. So when I went to my doctor, she's like, we're gonna run all the tests because she's worried about it being my left side of my body. And then the MRI said demyelination disease. I had a rough idea what that was because of Montel Williams talking about MS in the 90s.
Yeah.
And that's my only reference to multiple sclerosis. And he lives really well with it. So I wasn't thinking it was worse until Selma Blair from Cruel Intentions, that movie. She's talking about MS and she's walking with a cane and doing stem cell research. And now Christina Applegate from Married with Children has it. And she hates the thing. She just wants the whole thing to just disappear and never come back. So my only reference of multiple sclerosis was celebrities. And then for me, because it was relapse and remitting, there was a period of time I had no symptoms whatever, and I partied like it's 1999. Still couldn't move my left arm, but I managed with Tylenol, with codeine and gabapentin, and still seeing my family doctor. But I was still seeing the neurologist. So the neurologist that said, yes, I have MS. And then with bringing my mom to the doctor's appointments, we weren't really accepting the diagnosis right away until the pandemic happened, where I couldn't move my left arm. My left eye is twitching. My toes are curling. The amount of symptoms I was having so frequently in 2020, and people are like, oh, you're okay. I'm like, no, my body is screaming in pain and I don't know how to make it stop. And then now I'm on Aubagio, generic name teriflunomide, a pill a day. Symptoms are pretty much gone, but they kind of hum like an air conditioner. You know, you hear it there. It's annoying, but you live with it. And that just comes with interesting side effects of my hair falling out and not the hair on my head, the hair on my body. And then I have to do blood work all the time with my doctor. But I'm relatively normal according to them. I still don't know what that means because I still drop plates and I get it, spazzing pain.
Mm.
So I live with it, but it doesn't feel like I'm living well with it because of being on disability benefits. So like the way that so being diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and I was in and out of the hospital for treatment, and I was psychotic, not paying rent and paying my bills and being faced eviction. I had to apply for disability benefits. So then I got on disability benefits with the bipolar disorder, and I stayed on disability benefits with the diagnosis of multiple sclerosis. And then now it's this combination of I want to do more with my life, but the government still sees me as disabled with substantial impairments, where I'm not exactly sure how much more I could do without risking losing my benefits.
And can you talk about, that's a big question that all of us have, and we all have different paths to this, of how do we financially float this experience, right? And, particularly the lows, when it's like day after day of doctor's visits, medicine, paying for alternative treatments that we can afford. Can you speak to a little bit with your experience? How much did disability help you with that? Was it just supplementary? Was it full time? Like, how did that journey work for you? Because that's a big, on top of the health and the mental health, the financial struggle is real too.
Yeah. So because the bipolar disorder, PTSD, and hypomania and psychosis and all those symptoms, I was facing eviction from my apartment.
Wow.
Like I was going through court. My landlord ordered the sheriff to come evict me. I was squatting in my apartment and then I got approved for disability benefits. Then I'm like, okay, great. Then the way it is in Ontario, you go through what they call Ontario Works, formerly known as welfare, and then you make your application for ODSP, which is Ontario Disability Support Program. But there's a lump sum payment that comes in from the day you start your application to the day you're approved. And that amount was exactly the amount of money I need to pay back my landlord to pay my rent to keep my apartment. And I also had to pay a fee to the court to make a stay to stay in my apartment, to then speak to a judge that gave me permission to pay my landlord the rent I owe them to keep staying in my apartment. And luckily, the sheriff didn't come. I still had my key. I just had to pay them. And that was 2011. And then now, and also my housing costs are really low for where I live in a big city in Canada. I'm in a rent control apartment. When I moved in, it was $725. Now rent is $994, but the average rent for where I live is $2,500 for
Are
one
you in
bedroom.
Vancouver?
Toronto.
Toronto. Wow. Wow. You $900 in Toronto?
Yeah, I'm in
That's
rent control.
amazing.
I'm in the apartment you would hear on the episode of Seinfeld of how much is the rent so yeah, I made a joke one time on my Facebook that if I ever have to move out my apartment, I'm going to host the Hunger Games to sublet my apartment.
That's a great idea. But they have to pay to enter the Hunger Games. So they got to pay you to enter it.
Yes, they will.
Then,
They have to pay my
then they
moving
got to fight to
costs.
the death.
Yeah, yeah, they're paying my moving costs. Yeah.
So
But
you've already stacked a couple of really key things. You've stacked a financially viable, apartment on the cheap with the government assistance, So you're stacking the deck in your favor.
So I don't like using luck, just my situation. I moved out at 18 in 2003, where rent could have been $600 a month, $500 a month. And then out of that, I built my credit, and then seeking treatment. I was doing all they're already there. It's just I didn't like if I lost my apartment, like officially lost it, where the sheriff came and pulled me out like they do in TV shows and things like
Mhm.
that, I wouldn't have this apartment. Like there's
Right.
people that had a rent control apartment, became disabled, got fully evicted from their apartment, and then they're not able to get into the system with housing that's stable. Like
Yeah.
Toronto has government housing called rent to geared income housing, but even that, I made that application in my previous apartment. And then when I got moved up the waiting list, it's the same day I got into this current apartment for the $994 I'm paying now. And I was mad at them, the housing worker, because I'm like, I got myself an apartment. Like, where were you a couple months
Right.
ago? And the reason I got this apartment, my credit was still okay. My mom and dad were able to give me first and last month's rent. I was working, so I wasn't mentally at that time I was paying my rent on time. And then because of the way the bipolar has seasons of you can function and then you don't function, then there's depression because it's what they call bipolar type 2. So
Okay.
my hypermania psychosis has to be really stressed out where I go into the hospital. But they, depending on when they see me, they either see me in a state of depression or they see me in a hypomania phase.
Gotcha.
And if I'm in hypomania phase, I still, get groceries, pay bills, shower, kinda. Like it's just like,
Yeah.
so I functioned in a way that people didn't see my depression until the medications my doctors were giving me wasn't working. So like in the beginning, I was on SSRIs. They don't really work for certain types of mental illness. Then my therapy, so the way, and also the way healthcare works in Canada, like everything goes through your family doctor. Luckily, I found my family doctor when she was a walk-in doctor at me asking her, hunched over with a bladder infection, are you taking patients full
Mm.
time? And that was 2004. And she's still my doctor now. And that's 20 years of having her as my doctor. But most people don't have that option anymore in Canada.
Mm.
Like they're losing their family doctors, or family doctors would say they're taking 500 patients and 5,000 will show up. It's a very wild time right now. Because
Okay.
if I had to start now with my illnesses, I really don't know where I would end up.
So you're a key member of your support team is your family doctor. And then for other people who don't have that relationship, that might be a first place of real challenge for them.
It
Um,
would be because then you're so in between my family doctor, I go into emergency rooms. So like last year, May, I did a psych evaluation and they told me I'm just handling normal stress. But I was like, what does that mean? I've always been in crisis. And they're like, no, you're doing good. And then they're also like, oh, yeah, there's no psychiatrist if you needed one. I'm like, so I handle normal stress and then I have to figure out how to pay for a psychologist because the waiting list, there isn't
mm.
any. If I go onto the waiting list, instead of a 2-year waiting list, it's a 4-year waiting list.
Seriously?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
the waiting list for Canada's mental health system is longer. Before it would take me 6 months to 2 years of waiting, which is what would happen before I got on disability benefits. I would
Okay.
get into my family doctor would see me. She would set the referral. And then I would go to the psych ward, emergency room, Center for Addiction Mental Health. They would see me. They put me in a short-term interim program for 2 months, put me on a different medication. Then I'd follow up with somebody. Then I would, not agree with the medication physically. So I would stop taking the medication. Then I have a season of I'm stable because the way
Mm.
my bipolar disorder worked.
Okay.
Then I would try get a job or I try make money in my business, irritate my mom, and then get in depression and then cycle back. So that's how my cycle was.
Okay.
I would function, make enough money. And because had my online business established since 2003, if I didn't have a job outside the house, I would work from home and then I would bounce on and off of welfare, which is Ontario Works, until my application for ODSP was approved in 2011. And because of the timing of that season of 2004 to now, my housing cost is still $100 a day or less.
Okay.
I don't need a lot. Plus, there's no children. There's no longer pets anymore. There's no boyfriend. There's no husband. It's just me. I don't need a lot for me to take care of my basics. And
I
I'm not a
see.
shopper. Like, I'm not trying to buy stuff. Even right now, the space I'm in, my living room only has a table and my laptop. There's no
Isn't it
furniture.
amazing how when you have a health struggle, so many things that other people think are so important, you just kind of sit back and you're like, man, you put a lot of energy in that stuff. It doesn't matter. When it
And
gets
my
stripped
and
away, it's kind of, yeah.
for me, the biggest energy went into how I perform at my job, at my
Hmm.
work. So being an entertainer, all my money went into my appearance to show up as an entertainer. And the way being a webcam performer is you only have to make presentable what is shown on camera.
Right. Like you
So
could be in
if,
sweatpants right now. I could be in
yeah, I could, like, I used to
hot
have
shorts. I don't know.
coffee mugs around my room.
Hmm.
And the only way we knew it was when I was in a documentary and they filmed my whole room.
Right.
And
You're
then
like, oh, hey, wait.
my mom was like, you couldn't fix your hair, you're cleaning your room. I'm like, I wasn't thinking that at that time. Yeah. So
You're like, when
that,
everything takes
like,
so much so much energy and it takes a spoon, you get real Jedi about what gets a spoon of energy and what doesn't.
yeah, like dishes in the sink. I
Hmm.
learned to squeeze soap, run water, let them sit in the sink. I'll
Soap.
get to them later. And then I realized as long as there's fresh water with soap in it, it's easier to wash when I get to it in the
That's it.
sink. And my mom was like, you pile up your dishes. I go, I know, but I'm the only one using them. Like, it's just.
Yeah. I'm gonna do this once a day. I'm gonna bring over a bar stool. Like I have a bar stool everywhere when I do my food prep and clean, because even things like just sitting down to do that stuff instead of standing up, like you said, that much more energy I have to put in my business. Um, yeah, because you have to ask yourself, well, what am I stealing from? Right. If I'm putting energy at this, where's it at the cost of what?
Yeah.
Well, so can you talk a little bit about your online businesses? It sounds, you've really fleshed out a lot here to be able to have multiple streams of income, like you mentioned, that carry you through the tough times and that, are creating financial freedom for you. And I think that that's something that's probably of great interest to a lot of the viewers, how to create that roadmap.
So I started as a webcam model in the live stream adult industry. And out of that, I had to learn to market myself, build a brand, talk to other companies. And that customer base from 2003 till now, they're anywhere from age 20 to age 60.
Wow.
Some of them have been following me the entire time. And the companies I work for in that industry, they started in 2003 or 1999. They're still, some of them, a good handful of them are still around. So it's just weird. I have job stability in this industry and I
Yeah.
have recognition. And because I'm a Black webcam model, I'm one of the first of the industry. So I set up this level of being a pioneer for new models coming up and they're wondering if they can start. And then out of it, because out of being a webcam model, you learn to be on camera. And then I think like 2 years or 3 years after YouTube started, I made a video for YouTube. And that video was harder to make because I'm like, I don't know how to talk to a camera. I don't have to talk to a camera. But then when YouTube, for me, when I realized I could use it to expand my brand,
Right.
that's what I'm doing now. And that is a weird thing where YouTube pays me, then the websites pay me, then affiliate links pay me, or Amazon will pay me. Where sometimes there's 6 checks in my mailbox and I never left the house.
For the same content, essentially, same content that you're able to stretch
It's
across the different
multiple, it's
platforms.
multiple content from multiple
Okay.
industries. So like how the
Gotcha.
adult industry has, like, now there's OnlyFans and there's different content sites and clip sites. I don't do that part because making clips and content is exhausting.
Hmm.
While the live stream industry, I can stay on a live stream for 4 to 6 hours make tips, talk to my customers, then log off, and then make a YouTube video. And then someone will buy something from my Buy Me a Coffee, or if I promote like a book I'm reading, like Donna Miller's How to Grow Your Business Made Simple book, if I recommend it, someone joins the affiliate link or
Nice.
another product or course. Like there was a ebook I was selling for cam models, and people would buy that link and say I bought the link. Then I log into the portal. It said I made a sale. And because it's paying me US dollars living in Canada with a foreign exchange rate, again, I don't need a whole lot of money to survive. Because
Gotcha.
some of this minimum amount of sales, like the minimum threshold you need to make sales, can buy me groceries. I'm okay.
Right.
And then because I'm still eligible for disability benefits, that income that comes in for me is $1,700 a month. And then if I send them my income and profit loss statements for my business, they add on $100 for the month. Just because you're showing you're actively trying to be competitive employed,
Right.
then they add on $100 benefit as like a reward. And then that pays all my rent. That pays my rent, my insurance, the internet, the cell phone, 1 week of groceries. And now I squeezed it where it can pay my whole month of groceries for $300. So, and mom and dad and grandma, they still send gifts. They still send money sometimes. So depending on like February, so from December, January, February, this is where I get Christmas money and possible birthday money. So the beginning of the year for me, I don't have to do a whole lot until April. And then I panic.
That's your financial cycle. And then
Pretty much. I was like,
Okay.
oh crap. Like, and it's I kind of got lazy, but not really, because multiple sclerosis fatigue and the medications I'm on, like the antipsychotic, Seroquel, quetiapine, it's sedating. And
Mhm.
then sleep apnea. Before we treated sleep apnea, I would sleep all the time. And then now that I'm treated for sleep apnea, the medications are still working. Ideally, I should try to work 4 hours a day. I would like to, but then I get distracted and play Sims, the video
Because
game.
honestly, sometimes all this we need a stress outlet, right? Like I allow myself a window of time. I'm like, you get 30 minutes to watch YouTube video, whatever kind of thing that's not constructive education. Because you need to create that space, right? Like it's traumatic, it's traumatic living with a chronic illness, it is. And so I think like daily, I try to process that. I meditate, I walk, but then sometimes you're like, I got to let my mind go down a rabbit hole that is not productive. It don't have to be negative, but that you can just escape. I mean, escapism has a role in this, I think.
I thought I could go for a walk for 30 minutes, then come back home and go get groceries. No, I can't.
Well, in Mass
I can,
Effect, right? That's a different,
I can only do one activity of walking for the day. So if it's go get groceries,
right.
so because I walk and get groceries, and then I have my granny shopping cart that I pull with me, and then pulling it back filled with groceries is like pulling 30 pounds.
You're
And
like,
then of
that's it
course
for the
trying to
day.
do it, yeah, you're trying to do it before the
Yeah.
ice cream is melted, and then all the things that go in the freezer goes in the freezer. And there was a thing, like I wanted to exercise, do at least 30 minutes, but because of the MS and my balance issues, I'm not walking as smooth as other
Yep.
people. And then when they had the snow and they didn't plow the sidewalks right away, I was falling in my walk. I'm like, you know what?
Oh
I'm not
my
gonna,
gosh.
no, they're just gonna.
Mm-mm.
So then I walk in my apartment in a weird circle
Okay. And
just to get
walking's
the
walking.
break. Yeah. Or like the parking lot near my building, I walk around there. Because as much as I want to do a whole full 30 to 40-minute exercise routine, I have to build up to that. And it's different
Yep.
every single day because of the lesions in my brain and the lesions on my spine,
Yep.
where we don't know which part of my body is going to function in the proper form or the proper like routine. If I follow someone else's workout routine, I need all the modifications that they give me in the routine.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, some days I know, like for my pain levels and energy levels, someday if I exercise, it's like this is going to be a chair exercise, right? Where you're just doing some weights or stretching. And then other days I can go for a 30-minute walk. I can't hike 6 miles anymore like I used to. Yeah, I hold out hope, right? But it's like you're just sort of like, I'm not really sure what's going to show up today.
And then
Whatever it
going
is, I'm going to try
outside
to
and
have a
there's
good
not
attitude.
necessarily a washroom. There's also like, because people forget with chronic illnesses, our bladder and
Oh God.
bodily functions
Oh
are
God.
affected. So great. Your friends
IBS.
go for that whole 6 minute mile walk, whatever. That's great. But where's the nearest washroom? Like I can go there if I know how long it'll take me to walk to the nearest public washroom. And
Right.
then I don't really want to use the public washroom because it's a public
Ick.
washroom. So yeah, I literally plan my walking now based on how far I can get to the nearest washroom,
Yeah, 100%.
which
I'm
I
a
don't think
realtor and showing
other people
houses with
think about that.
no, yeah, when I work with buyers and we go for 3 hours, sometimes 5 hours to show houses, I have to consider, I prepare for like worst case scenario and I build in some breaks. And, it's so embarrassing to talk about, but it's like that bathroom management has to be a big piece of it whenever I'm out showing houses, because if you're not prepared, guess what happens? you
At
know,
least houses have the washroom. That is the
you're not
feature
supposed to
of,
use them. You're not
oh,
supposed to
well,
use them like you can, but it's like,
I think if you bring the cleaning products with you, it's
yeah,
okay.
yeah. I mean, we have to like, there's a level which you're like, okay, there's what we want to be able to do, and there's what we're going to show up and do for sure. Well,
Just bring the really good Lysol. I think you'd be
yeah,
okay.
the hand sanitizer and the stuff. Well, let me ask for people who are interested in building online businesses like what you have, what would you suggest them? How could they get started? Where can they learn?
A lot of what I learned was from books. So, and 2003 selection of books on online business are way smaller than today.
Mm,
Because even before coming on here and preparing for a presentation, and I was researching something, and I went down a rabbit hole of reports and essays. And so there's a lot of really good books. Like I mentioned, Donald Miller's book, Business Made Simple. Then Russell Brunson has his Expert Secrets books and ClickFunnels series books. So there's enough online books and online YouTuber channels that have online businesses that talk about it. So like there's Chris Ducker for Youpreneur, Myron Golden, like Daniel Priestley. There's so many people that I follow online now that are doing the thing of online business education or affiliate marketing, or they have products and services you could sell as an affiliate and they'll pay you a commission for selling their products. Like
nice.
Tony Robbins has it, Brendon Bouchard has one. Like you kind of just need to make sure you understand their products that you would use as a customer first. So it's easier to recommend. So like when you see people with their Instagram videos, a lot of the cleaning videos, and they do all the affiliate links for scrub daddies and all those things like that, build that up, but build it in a way that you're teaching people what it is. Like not just like do the video of selling the products, but actually integrate it into your whole life. Because there's so many products, like with Amazon having their affiliate program.
Mhm.
Yes, you could buy something from Amazon, but make a video of how do you like the product or how do you review the product and build up that skill of being your own home shopping network.
And then you have a YouTube channel, right? Would you share it with everyone?
Yes. So my YouTube channel, Minnie Cam, it started with me talking about the industry of being a webcam model, and then out of my own personal challenges of being disability benefits and wanting to budget and build wealth and retire with dignity, I started documenting my process of following the Dave Ramsey baby steps. So
Mm.
it's 7 baby steps that help you navigate your finances, paying off debt, and then reach the level of fully funded emergency fund and then investing. So I started documenting that process, but from the perspective of I'm self-employed, I have irregular income, and then I'm on disability benefits, and then I have to follow the rules of the disability benefits and eventually exit off of disability benefits. Because that conversation actually doesn't happen from the people who issue disability benefits. Like
Mm.
it's really weird how you can apply for disability benefits, but they don't make an extra appointment with you to make a plan of what is your life goal after benefits or something like that. So
Interesting.
I built a channel based on my own personal challenges of how I'm solving them or how I'm navigating them. Like there's a lot of YouTube channels that talk about living with a chronic illness. Like
Mhm.
there's Living Well with MS YouTube channel that I watch her channel all the time, or the Silver Single Lady that's 60 and she's single with no children and she's planning for retirement. You can pretty much plan YouTube content around the interests and hobbies that you really obsess with that your parents or family find very annoying.
It's always best if you can throw a touch of like annoying factor in there. Well, we're kind of running. We're getting to the end of our time, but where can people find you? You mentioned your YouTube. I know you're in a few other places.
Yeah, there's my YouTube and my Twitter, Minnie Cam. And pretty much Minnie Cam until my blog is ready. So once my
That's
blog
right.
is ready, it'll be an announcement on my YouTube channel, my Instagram. So everything's pretty much Minnie Cam
And
online.
we'll link it below too in
Hmm.
here. Well, what final words do you have with somebody who's really struggling right now and maybe they can't imagine how it'd be possible to be financially independent again? What would you say to them?
It's a process. And as long as you get it process steps of action in your lifetime, you'll eventually get there. Because 7 years ago, I would never think I'd be on podcasts talking to people about what I do for a living. And as long as you build something towards it, because I can't always sit in, oh, I have my disability and oh, I have to do blood work and go to my doctor and do an MRI. I hate my MRI. I totally do. Now in my MRI, I sing the song Night at the Roxbury in my head.
You got a strategy.
Pretty much. I've learned and I can't move my lips in the MRI because I have to start all over, but I've learned to play DJ music in my head in the MRI. So the parts of it you just like, yes, it's tough and challenging. And yes, a lot of people are not going to understand what you're going through, but we have 8 billion people on the planet. You're not the only one. And if we like, yes, there's rare diseases, but even that, there's still more people getting the rare disease that's no longer rare.
Right. Unfortunately.
So there's definitely somebody out there with your condition or symptoms out there and build hobbies and passions and like activism activities to enjoy life. The enjoying of the life is needed, even though there's a health condition with challenges attached to it.
For sure. Wow. That's amazing. You've shared so many fantastic resources. Like I said, we'll link everything we've talked about today below. Thank you so much for speaking to this issue, for helping shed light on the financial part, your path to balance that and to create the independence with the goal of one day being fully financially independent and a millionaire.
Yes,
I saw
that is the mission.
on your content as well, for sure. Well, thank you so much. If you enjoyed today's episode, please don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review. And if you know someone who would benefit from these stories of success, please share this with them. Be sure to check out Minnie and her multiple channels and her videos. And thanks for tuning in to Bouncing Back. We'll be back in 2 weeks with more awesome content. So until then, keep bouncing back. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of the Bouncing Back podcast, Professionals Thriving with Chronic Illness. I hope you found inspiration and actionable takeaways to support you on your journey. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who might need a little encouragement today. Remember, thriving with chronic illness is possible. You are stronger than you think. Until next time, take care and keep bouncing back.